month long, we've been looking at leaning into spiritual practice. And so going over the 6 that I chose, the stars for this month, first Sunday we talked about care. How can we be more intentional in how we care for ourselves, those around us, our community, and the world? Okay, how's everybody doing with that? Anybody made some changes this month in how you care for yourself, or your community, or your world? I'm seeing some nodding heads. Okay, always room for improvement. Affirmative prayer, also known as spiritual mind treatment or atomic prayer. There are probably other names for it as well. But this is about really being very mindful and intentional and purposeful with our word. Because everything that we think, everything that we do, everything that we say, it's like a magic spell. And sometimes that spell is like big in its demonstration, and sometimes it's really, really tiny. But our word is important. So we really, really need to be careful of what is it that we're spelling with our words and our actions. Also talked about meditation, how meditation, and there are many, many forms, but meditation is such an amazing opportunity to deepen our understanding of self, how sacred we are, and how sacred and connected, interconnected, divinely intertangled everyone and everything is. Also talked about visioning. How visioning is an opportunity not to visualize or hold an idea or vision in mind, but visioning is about opening up to the infinite possibilities of who we can become. It's about asking questions and then just tuning in for whatever it is that is bubbling up to the surface, that wants to be known, that wants to express more fully. Last week, we talked about tithing. And tithing not as an obligation to give 10% of our income to whatever it is that inspires us. Tithing not as donating because we feel that someone or some organization is in need of something, money. Tithing as generosity. And tithing as generosity of spirit. So that as we give our time, talent, and treasure being money, as we give, we are expressing more fully. We are investing in spirit, which is who and what we are. So the more we give, the more we get to express. The more we express, the more we get to continue reaping the benefits of this incredible, amazing infinitude, this awesomeness, this dynamic, energetic flow, this love that each and every one of us is. Which brings us to today. Today is about service. About being of service. And so here I'm making a distinction between, it's not just about volunteering, because volunteering is about doing tasks, is about helping out, which is great, but being of service is more sacred than that. Volunteering can be being of service, and that's what I want to focus on today. So there was a quote that we had for meditation today by Martin Luther King. Not everyone can be famous, but everyone can be great, because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. And what I really appreciate about this quote here is because he's not focusing on the tasks or the commitment itself. It's really, how are you approaching the tasks? How are you approaching being of service? How are you showing up? And here, what is he talking about? Showing up as love. Okay? So here, I want to talk today about giving through time and talent, not of the time and talent, but giving through time and talent. What is being expressed? Who and what we truly are. The love, spirit, God, universal mind, infinite potentiality, source, whatever it is that you want to call it. As we give of our time, talent, and treasure, and this week we're focusing on time and talent, then we are further activating that wholeness, that infinite potentiality, all of those amazing possibilities that are just waiting to be expressed. That's what we're stirring up, and that's what we're unleashing out into the world through service. So my talk title today is, How May I Serve? And you see in this tiny little child's hand, there is a heart. And that's really what I want to focus on. You know, every week there's a slide that goes up here saying, how may I serve? Here are a whole bunch of ways that we could really use your help in the community in order to build community together. And that's great, because all of that stuff requires doing, but really what we're asking, what we're inviting everybody here to do, is to really embrace the love that you are more fully, and then sharing some of that love with our community, right? Just like last week, it's about generosity. Generosity of spirit, generosity of the love that we are, and then it shows up in helping out, set up the chairs, in cleaning up, in, all the different ways that there are of greeting today. Mariana, thank you. So there's so many different ways to be of service, and it's not so much about the task as it is about what it is that is expressing through the task. So it's about the level of consciousness versus the capacity. It is about focusing on the truth versus the task. And this is about building and expanding community through expansion of consciousness. Because the more we serve, the more we get in tune with who and what we are. And the more we get in tune, the more we can anchor ourselves there, the more we can open up our hearts, as challenging as it might be, and the more fully we can express for ourselves, our community, and our world, the awesomeness that we all are. So years ago, as I was sort of trying to figure out, I was transitioning from probably the food industry into the health and wellness industry. I was trying to figure out, what's my why? Anyone here familiar with Simon Sinek and Find Your Why? Okay, a few hands going up. So this is about finding basically your purpose. The thing that drives you, the thing that is behind every single thought, word, and action step, the thing that wakes you up in the morning and makes you want to go. This is your why, and your why doesn't really change. It may be tweaked from time to time in your life, but the ultimate why as to why you are here, what it is that drives you, your passion, that's pretty solid. And so my why, after putting together a bunch of stories and working through it with a friend and working through Simon Sinek's book, is empowering the conscious awakening of humanity so that together we can cultivate a global community founded in love. That's it. Everything I think, do, and say stems back to that why for me. It's a powerful affirmation. And I stray sometimes, but there's that one statement, that one declaration that pulls me back. And when I'm not sure about, a decision that I need to make, is it in keeping with my why? Because when it's in keeping with my why, getting a little emotional now, my heart opens. It swells. Because I know that when I'm in touch with my why, then I am showing up as who I truly am. And showing up as who I truly am, whether it be for myself, my family, my friends, my community, the world, that's what life is about for me. When I experienced the call to ministry, and the point of ministry, or what the ministry was for, was so that I could love. That was the call to ministry, was you're here, my purpose is to love. This is the best way that I can do it. And it's not me deciding, it's me being pulled into this, because this is what I'm meant to do. And so this, to me, is what being of service is about living your why, about really, really stepping into the truth of who you are. And each and every one of us has to figure that out for ourselves. But I promise you, when you do, when you really, really get clear on what your purpose is or what your why is, being of service becomes easier. Being of service becomes essential, because that is one of the most amazing integral spiritual practices to showing up as the truth of who you are. On seeknet.com, they say, seva is a Sanskrit word meaning selfless service or work performed without any thought of reward or repayment. And so this goes beyond volunteering. This is about really giving of spirit, about sharing the generosity that is ever-flowing, overflowing, always abundant, because that's who and what we are. Last week, the talk title was, It's in You to Give. And then I was reminded that was, the Canadian Blood Service. It sounded familiar, but anyway. But it's in us to give because it's who and what we are. Like, this supply is infinite in scope. can never outgive what we have. We can never run out of love. We can never run out of creativity. We can never, even though it feels like it, we can never run out of energy, because energy is who and what we are. And when we step into service, when we step into seva, sacred service, then we are further activating that truth of our being, that infinite nature, that creativity, that dynamism, that vitality that is always, always available, that is the very, very inherent nature of our being. So it's about transcending our ego by more fully embodying the spirit that we are. And it's about building community together. And here it's all about love, right? And so when we say, hey, can I help out with this? Hey, I have this super amazing skill that I would like to offer. I don't know how it fits in here. Whatever. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. And don't wait to be asked. There is an open invitation to be of service. And not just here. Everywhere in your life. Everywhere. To people you know, to people you don't know. Because every moment of every day, you're in service to something. And either you're in service to the truth of who you are, or you're in service to the anxiety, the overwhelm, the stuff that's on the news, all the conditions and experiences and everything that are whirling and swirling around here. Every moment we are at choice, right? Every moment we're choosing. So I invite you to choose to be of service. Every moment of every day to what you want to affirm in your life, rather than just kind of going with the flow willy-nilly and then, oh my gosh, how did I get here? So to finish off, being of service is not about your time and talent. It is about what is expressing through the giving of your time and talent. Our plate, this was actually a conversation Glenn and I were having yesterday, and he offered something very very cool. He talked about service and serving. How, like serving, a helping sort of thing, how you can only serve when your plate is full. You can't serve from an empty plate, right? So we need to know, we need to be crystal clear on who we are, because when we know who we are, our plate is overflowing. And then there is so much more that we can give servings of and helpings of to others, right? So our plate must be full before we can offer servings or helpings of love to those around us. And in order to fill it up, we must continually remember, appreciate, and embody our divine nature. So this takes us back to our affirmation. We must continually expand our mind, open our heart, further activate our soul, and as we do, we are better equipped to be of service as the sacred, essential love that we truly are. Love that is a never-ending supply. Thank you, and so it is.